After winning in Monza, Max Verstappen can clinch the championship at the next race in Singapore, and also responds to the boos that he received after winning in Monza. Damon Hill says Nicholas Latifi is bound to be kicked out of F1 for 2023. And we have some unfortunate news regarding Alex Albon's health. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Formula One Digest. I'm your host, Tyson De Silva, reacting to the Italian Grand Prix. It was Monza. It was a good race, and almost up until the end. It ends with Max Verstappen winning under the safety car, which I'm sure most people didn't really want to see, but regardless, it did happen, and Max Verstappen now is in a position where he can win his second world championship once they go to Singapore in about two or 3 weeks' time. It's going to be really interesting to see if he is able to secure the deal or whether Charles Leclerc or someone else denies him that opportunity and keeps on pushing for their bid in the championship. But according to a website called Race Fans, we have an article on how Max Verstappen could win the championship in Singapore. So I feel like this obviously is kind of obvious, but Max needs to win the race. He'll get the most amount of points in that. If he wins the race, he'll get the full 25. And depending on who's finishing, his closest title contenders are Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez. And in order for Max to win, if he sets the fastest lap, Leclerc must finish no higher than 8th. Perez must finish no higher than 4th. But if Max does not set the fastest lap, Charles Leclerc must finish no higher than 9th, and Perez must finish no higher than 4th or 5th if he sets the fastest lap. So if none of those conditions are met, the championship will be decided at a later date. However, I feel like it's pretty obvious that with the lead that Max has gotten over the last few races, it is almost a guarantee that he is going to be going back-to-back, and a lot of teams should be looking to next year. Of course, Max is in a good position because of this race that happened in Monza, and it wasn't the best race in terms of its ending under a safety car after the Monza curse strikes again. For those of you who may not know, the Monza curse is when the driver who wins the previous year DNFs. We saw that with Charles Leclerc, who won in 2019, DNF'd in 2020. It was won by Pierre Gasly in 2020. And then last year, Pierre Gasly was a DNF. And of course, last year, we had Daniel Ricciardo win the the Italian Grand Prix. And this past weekend, he was a DNF in a session. It was looking good for him. Don't get me wrong. I believe he was P8 or P7 when he had a power unit issue and had to retire, which resulted in the safety car that ended the race. But of course, as it ends, Max Verstappen wins and received a ton of boos during the Italian Grand Prix. And of course, Max has always been a driver that has gotten hate for one reason or another. And he responded to how he felt about being booed, and he was quoted saying, "Well, the atmosphere for me was not amazing, but it is what it is," which, if you guys know or listen to how Max Verstappen talks, that's the most Max Verstappen answer I think you'll ever get. And he continues to say that at the end of the day, I'm here to try and win the race. Some people, of course, they can't appreciate that, but that's because they are very passionate fans for a different team. And it is what it is. It won't spoil my day. I'm just enjoying the moment. Of course, it's a very mature answer, as well as some people would probably be more prone to lashing out or taking a dig at the fans. But no, Max kept it very civil and just said, "Hey, I'm here to do a job. I did it. The fans didn't like it, but that's because, as Sebastian Vettel would say, they are Ferrari fans." Of course, after all of the boos, Charles Leclerc also spoke out on those who did boo Max, and was quoted saying that I think nobody likes booing and it shouldn't happen. That's it. But then he also continued to talk about the flares that were very prominent in Zandvoort, and also in Monza, as the Ferrari fans have their own red flares. He said that it's not too bad when it comes to the formation laps or laps to the grid, but during the race it can be a distraction and of course cause accidents because I'm sure for those of you who do watch, you can see that there is not a lot of distance ahead that you can see, and that can cause accidents. So it's definitely something that needs to be under control for future races. Of course, we had someone in Zandvoort throw a flare on the track, which was just not safe, and hopefully that person was dealt with, and we don't really have that again. Of course, it was also a big week for a number of drivers, but no one probably had a more enjoyable week than Nyck De Vries. So for those of you who are new to F1, Nyck De Vries is a really interesting case because he is a rookie driver at 27. He is Dutch, and he is a Formula E World Championship winning in 2020 to 2021, and is a 2019 Formula 2 Championship. You may be saying, how has this guy not secured a seat if he has won 2 championships already in his career? Unfortunately, there are only so many seats in F1 that he's never really gotten that opportunity. He is a Mercedes reserve driver and does tests for them. But what a weekend it was for Nyck De Vries, who was initially doing a free practice in the Aston Martin car. I believe it was Sebastian Vettel's car that he was driving. And then only a couple hours later, it was revealed that because of Alex Albon's need to get an appendectomy done, he would be racing in his place for Williams. And what a debut. It was unbelievable that a guy who initially started off the weekend as a reserve driver, only doing a test, then became the driver for the Williams team and ended up finishing in P9. It's only 2 points, but that's 2 more than Nicholas Latifi, and because of this, it has been said by Damon Hill that Nicholas Latifi is just simply not fast enough to stay in F1 after his showing in Monza. And Damon Hill was quoted saying, but this is the way that it is. In this case, Nicholas hasn't got the pace he needs to stay in F1. He's had some good moments, but in comes along a guy who has not even driven in the Grand Prix before, and he got points. It is really unfortunate for Nicholas Latifi that his career has gone this way, where he's become a bit of a meme, and a lot of people are petitioning Nyck De Vries to get his seat for the rest of the season. But of course, that is up to Williams. But personally, I would like to see Nyck De Vries in a seat. I think he's waited a very, very long time, and I think that he really did prove that he is deserving of a seat for next year. So we will continue to follow any news surrounding him, as he is an exciting driver to be entering the sport if he's given the opportunity. Of course, for Alex Albon, his weekend didn't quite go as planned, as he had a diagnosis of appendicitis and went in for a surgery on Saturday. And we have some unfortunate news that Alex was treated in the ICU after a respiratory failure. As far as we know, according to this article by the BBC, he made excellent progress overnight and was able to be removed from the ventilation because he was having, I guess, problems with his breathing, and it looks like he's going to be making a full recovery, and is going to be preparing to race in Singapore. This is obviously very scary news for a guy who is quite likable on the grid. I'm sure all the drivers are likable, but yeah, a very nice guy, and we do hope that Alex is okay, and that he is able to race in Singapore. Yeah, but it does show, though, how quickly a weekend can go for both sides, as Alex was meant to be racing. Instead, he spent his weekend in the hospital, and Nyck De Vries got to achieve, I guess, his childhood dream, which was driving in Formula One. So it's going to be really exciting to see how Alex does in Singapore when he does race, if he can hopefully make a full recovery. And it'll be exciting to see what happens to Nyck De Vries as the season progresses, whether or not he will be switched over to a full-time Williams driver, because it sounds like a lot of people are pushing for Nicholas Latifi to lose his seat for next year and maybe for the rest of the season. Until then, guys, we will continue to follow all of the news and more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate all the support that you guys give, and we will see you guys in the next one.